Start again.
Woodmen Hills Metropolitan District regular board meeting for Thursday, October 25th, 2018 is now in session. Call to order. Roll call. Troy Stinson, Chairman, present.
Russell Ryder, present.
Carl Lukens, present.
Sherry Reed, present.
And by phone,
Nicole Van, present.
so we do have a quorum. I motion that we go to executive session for discussion of district's inclusion policy. And personnel matter. Inclusion policy pursuant to CRS 246402E1.
That should be amended to read 4E1.
You got a lot of corrections tonight.
I'm making them on Ted's behest.
We'll amend it when we come out before we approve the agenda, so. 4E1.
We second.
Any discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, this meeting is now in executive session. Motion that Carl's sick, so I think we've just seen him running out of the building. So instead of getting you all sick, I motion that we excuse him from the remainder of the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and we do have Nicole Vance on the speakerphone.
I believe you need Kyle here tonight to present the budget to the board.
We'll get there. The budget has been presented to the board.
No, it hasn't. It has to be presented in a public meeting.
Does it?
Okay, it has to be distributed.
It was presented on October 9th to the board, so the board has been reviewing it. And this, the budget hearing, I think we have scheduled for, what was the next date on that, Daniel?
The next meeting,
Yeah,
November 29th.
yes.
We've kind of moved way down the agenda, but into number 12.
Yep.
But to your point, if I may, a budget committee reviewed the budget, made a recommendation to the board regarding approval of the budget. The district published in the newspaper a notice that adoption of the budget would be this evening. It was published on October the 18th. There is a different requirement in the statute between a budget and a fee increase. There's no time requirement for the adoption of a budget. There is a time requirement of 30 days for adoption of a fee increase. The district, in its goal for transparency, is going to broaden the timeline to respond, back to your point, from tonight, if the board adopts the recommendation of the committee, it is going to give a month for folks to react, as opposed to the short time which just happens between the,
May I read the SDA rule on that?
I have it with me too.
October 15th, the budget officer must present their budget to the governing body.
And they did.
Budget hearing is scheduled and must be published 30 days before the next meeting.
And that's exactly what I just said. It's being published for 30 days. The budget, the portion you're talking about is regarding increase in fees.
No, it's
Not,
the budget.
I respectfully disagree, and I have the statute with me here. Okay? The board is not adopting a final budget tonight. Okay? What it is doing is adopting it as an interim matter, if you will, and it is setting it out for final adoption in the end of November the 28th. But in that timeline, folks have the opportunity to respond both to the budget and to the fee increase, even though the statute doesn't require regarding the budget that it have the 30-day requirement. That's in relation to increase in the fees, and I have the statute here if you want me to pull it out. Okay, so this is a benefit to to the constituency, not a detriment. They're getting as opposed to a final adoption by the board tonight. They're not doing that. If they adopt the recommendation of the committee, it's an interim approval, but it's going out so the community can see the tentative adoption with the opportunity of 30 days to comment. So it's broadening the opportunity of folks to respond, not narrowing it. It's taking it out 30 days, both as to the budget and as to the fees, so it's a benefit to the community. Okay?
Okay, we'll get there to that resolution.
Okay.
So we're going to, President's welcome and remarks. We're gonna try to stick to the agenda. Okay? But first of all, I see we have another full room tonight. Thank you all for coming out here and being part of the community, being part of this. We appreciate you coming out. Love to hear from you all. I got a couple of things here. We had Fall Festival, that was on what day?
October 13th.
October 13th. Corey and Will set up the Fall Festival, had some of our employees out there. There were several community members that came out as well. Events, games, I know my family was out there, the kids enjoyed it. Also, the Falcon Community Connection was out there for who Fran heads helping out, Fran French. Chris Rizzuto, Amy Rizzuto, Katie Newbill, Connie Brooks, Judy Laurie, Shelley Reynolds. Thank you all if you're all here tonight. If you're not, and you're watching this video, thank you all very much for your help. We appreciate the community members coming out and helping with those events like that. It makes them a huge success for the community. A lot of things going on in the district. I'm sure if you're not aware, the preliminary plan for the Falcon Marketplace was heard on October 9th, and was 5-0 voted for the Falcon Marketplace to move forward. They're gonna start, I guess, initial grading and work out there on that lot. There were a couple of the community members that spoke up out there. There's some right-of-way concerns that NEVA has. And there's some right-of-way and some traffic concerns that Mr. Pace presented to the council or committee on the traffic patterns on Meridian. And we all know how Meridian is right now, the racetrack, Meridian Road racetrack out there. So there's a lot of movement, a lot of developers looking to be included in districts out here as far as moving forward with developments out to the north and east of us. And we've been talking about that for months. So, but once again, there will be a lot of discussion at these meetings going forward as far as budget, as far as inclusion agreements, as far as just our district business. So we really do appreciate you all for coming out and being a part of that. Once again, our emails are on the district site, so if you have questions, concerns, objections, when we get to the budget part and want to ask questions, or as you're reviewing the budget and things, which will be available at the
District office.
district office, to pick up a copy of that to review. But we'll get to that in item 12. Does someone want to lead us in the
I do.
pledge of allegiance?
Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Pace. Okay, next item will be approval of agenda.
I motion to approve the agenda as written.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Hello? Approval or disapproval of the board minutes?
I did look at that. I motion to approve the minutes.
We have,
There was an attachment which is not here, which was the comments which were to be attached to the minutes. And then they said in this package it's not here.
that attachment to the minutes that was supposed to be on there?
I have a suggestion. I remember you referring to this last month, Ted. What I suggest is that you bring a written copy next month and ask for the minutes that are being approved now to be amended.
I provided written copy last month. It disappeared someplace.
I never received it. If you send it to me, I will. make
No, I
sure it's
handed
in.
out this at the meeting. It was Sherry's comments. No? All right, anyway, I'll
Okay,
get you another copy.
I'm gonna motion that we disapprove board minutes as they're written until we can get that page added. And if you could also add a 4 in front of the E and the 1 on the inclusion policy, the revised statute. And there should be a 4 in front of that.
Yeah, I only got page one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
I don't know what
so I have a
happened there.
motion to disapprove the board minutes as they're written right now.
I seconded it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did you hear that?
I did, but I can't see the board minutes. I don't think I can vote for them.
Okay.
So I'm kind of abstaining, I guess.
But you have enough votes.
Okay. And your vote was?
I agree.
Okay. Motion carries with 3. Attorney's report?
Nothing new to add other than the issues about the budget and fees that we'll get to.
September 2018 financial report. Do you have a copy of the financial report in front of you or no?
No, I didn't get a board packet early.
Okay, I'm gonna motion that we table the approval, disapproval of the September financial report until the next meeting on November 29th. Let's make, I don't know how much notice you had to provide for the board member that's by phone, but if they're not gonna be here, let's make sure they at least get copies of these
Yeah.
prior to the board meetings.
Yeah, I didn't know
They're
she was
be
gonna
here by
be
phone.
here.
So I have a motion to table that till November 29th.
I'll second it.
So if we knew you weren't gonna be here, we could get this to you electronically and.
All in favor, table to the 29th?
Aye.
Aye.
Troy, is the next meeting the 29th? or-
29th of November, yes.
That's a Monday.
Due to the end of the month and the holiday that's on that Thursday, it's gonna be pushed to that Monday night.
Okay.
It's not the 25th?
thought it was the 29th.
If I could highlight something there, we need to look at the resolution. There was a resolution made in January of 2018 that in November and December, the board meeting is moved to the 3rd. So you can make those resolutions as well,
To the 3rd?
to the 3rd Thursday, because of the holiday of both Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we do have a resolution on that on file.
So what is the date, the 25th or the 29th?
I don't
Is
know.
that still gonna allow for the 30 days?
No, it won't.
Then no.
The resolution says the meeting will be held the third Thursday of the month.
In November and December because of the holidays.
And what date is that?
The 22nd.
That's Thanksgiving.
And so Troy, you had a point, that doesn't allow for the 30 days. So you would leave the 29th in November, but your December meeting would be that 3rd Thursday.
Okay, I think we're fine with the December meeting.
Yep. And then the November be the 29th.
You're gonna have a board meeting on Thanksgiving, right?
The 15th. It's the 15th.
Oh, 15.
So what is the date that's been settled on?
The 29th.
29th.
Okay.
Thanksgiving is the 22nd.
Yes, Thanksgiving is the 22nd this year.
Okay.
So
that-
29th is
because
the
that's
date.
gonna give us more than 30 days, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Which is fine.
I think typically, this November has 5 Thursdays in it, so that's, why it allows that.
Normally, it should have been held on the 15th.
Of November?
Yes.
Okay. Do we need a motion for that to change it since it's a resolution?
Yeah, we're going to change it in the resolution.
I
Because
might
I have
have
the
that.
25th in the resolution. If it's more than 30, that's fine. Just
Okay.
set whatever date you want.
All right, I motion that we change the meeting for November to the 29th to make sure we can meet our Thursday for the budget review.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Says it on the agenda for the 29th.
It passes majority 4. We'll look at changing that to the 3rd. All right, Parks and Rec report.
Okay, thanks. I do want to kind of tail back on Troy's comment about that everyone has their emails. You can also email the team members as well. So if you have a specific question on Park and Rec, you can always email us. They're just so bombarded with a lot of other things that more than happy to have your email come directly to me. It's pretty easy. It's just Corey@whmd.org. So feel free to do that. The monkey survey, so it concludes on the 31st of October, which is next Wednesday. So in the November board meeting, we'll do the full presentation. So I just wanted to update you on that. We're at, 500 plus when I looked at it right before the meeting. Facility update, so we are going to be painting the locker rooms downstairs as well as the lockers themselves in the upcoming month. I hope you all noticed that we did paint these doors up here, so we're trying to spruce the facility up just a little bit. Thanksgiving week, November 19th and 20th, and the 23rd, we're open all day from 6:30 a.m. until 8 p.m. On Wednesday, the eve before Thanksgiving, we're open 6:30 to 4, and then Thanksgiving Day, we're closed, so our team members can be with their family. RCE, we're going to be using CTF funds. We get allocated CTF funds every quarter. And so we're going to be using those to spruce up our women's and men's locker rooms at RCE as well as our child watch area. If we have any leftover money, we're going to be looking at possibly changing out the carpet to a new flooring, this kind of thing. So we're getting some bids on everything that we want to do right now. But that money is available to us, and then there's a listing of what we can use that money for. Parks and Trails, Balcom Park, we had some issues with our sprinkler system. If any of your kids play in any of our sports, you could see some of our grass was very brown. We did have a company come out and take a look at it. We had some issues with our sprinklers, so they concluded that last week. So if you live around Balcom Park and you saw those sprinklers kind of on at all strange hours during the day, the men were out there working on it. We did conclude that last week. Programming update, October, we're down a little bit in swimming lessons. It's it's not unexpected for us because fall break does play a factor in that. Flag football began October 8th and it continues through November 17th and we're to capacity. Fitness, we added a new Wednesday PM class. She teaches here, she is a resident, and she also teaches at Meridian Ranch. She's had a great turnout. And then we added a Thursday PM Zumba class based off the feedback of our residents. Fall Festival, as Troy was mentioning, it was held on October 13th. We did it in conjunction with the Falcon Connection Group. It was a great success. We had over 200 kids, over 320 participants took part in it. So kudos to everybody that came out and kudos to the team. They worked very, very hard for a long period of time when they put something like this on. So I have a great team. Parents Night Out, again, we continue with our capacity. We fill it up at 20. Our mini camps were at full capacity. I think some of the parents, their kids in this room, their kids attended it, so thanks for supporting us. Bingo is November 2nd. We are not going to have it on the 16th as it's the holiday coming up to Thanksgiving and so many people travel. Dive-In movie will be November 16th, Parents Night Out, again November 9th, and then our Funky Float on November 23rd. And that is it.
Any questions for Parks and Rec? Does anybody have any questions for Parks and Rec? No? Okay. Water and wastewater report.
All right, the crews have been out cleaning and inspecting mains. Got quite a bit done. They've also been working with a paintbrush. Appreciate the business. Other than that, wastewater plant continues to perform. We're a little concerned about because we were offloading to Meridian. I wanted to maximize our flows but it looks like we have to decrease the flows a little bit to maintain compliance with DOD. Water department, they continue with their fire hydrant and valve cleaning exercising. Our valve cleaning and exercising cycles, they're 20% done. We do have some wells that are in training some air. Typically it happens when you run the wells pretty hard during the summertime, so they'll recover as soon as the water levels stabilize. Of course, we have new construction continuing in Courtyards West, and paintbrushes construction is ongoing. Danny Everett is assisting over in Paintbrush doing the inspections on the installation of infrastructure over there. And of course, our new wastewater plant construction continues. Every day it looks better and better over there, so instead of a bunch of equipment sitting on the ground, now it's the ground's getting bare, equipment's being installed, so it makes it look like we're closer and closer to starting that place up. We did also do grease trap inspections, got those completed. I'm open for questions. Yes?
Hi, Jerry, my name's Judy,
Mm-hmm.
and I have two questions for you. The Judge Orr thing, can you give us some kind of a timeline there? I've had people on my street come up to me and ask me like I'm supposed to know.
That's a county project, and construction is dependent on a lot of things. I would be out of line really trying to speculate on when they'd be done. Sorry. If it was up to me, it'd be done already.
Yeah, it's causing a lot of grief with a lot of
Yeah.
residents, that's
Yeah. Like I said, that's a El Paso County DOT, so we don't have anything to do with it.
And my second question is in regards to the water. I don't know, I've heard from other people that they've had this same issue, but the water is very cloudy when it comes out, but once it's set, I've noticed there's like a film on it. And it also also, sometimes it doesn't smell very good,
Interesting.
yeah.
It could be that, there's a few things that could be, causing that. The air, the cloudiness is there. And that can be caused by temperature change. It can also be caused by, an aeration process, which comes out of your sink. If you have any concerns, we can certainly come on and take a look. And then as far as the film goes, I can't address that either without actually, taking a
Sometimes it
sample.
looks like it's like an iridescent type
Mhm.
thing, and it almost looks like it's got sometimes like a rainbow or something, and then I notice, cause I give my dogs water outside in their water bowl, and even in the house, and I've just noticed that there's like a funny film on top of it.
Yeah, we could surely investigate that and see where the problem lies.
Yeah, and I know I'm not the only one, because I think on next door, I think there were some people that
Had the
had
same problem.
concerns about the water as well, you know.
Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't heard of a condition like that before, so, well, give us a call. We'll come on and take a look.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, very good, thank you.
Any other questions for Jerry on water and wastewater? All right, next item will be the resolution providing notice of budget and fee increase. I'm sure this is gonna be a long document. Go ahead.
All right, let me respond to our earlier discussion in a hopefully a little more organized manner. On August the 25th, this is all from statute or SDA manual or bylaws, and I have all the sites if anybody's interested in the sites.
I am.
I'm sorry, I didn't. Who, what? Oh,
Me.
okay, all right. By August 25th, the county assessor is to certify the district's assessed valuation, CRS 39-5-128 per N1. By October 15, the board designates a qualified person who prepares the budget and submits it to the board on or before October 15th of each year. CRS 29-1-105, sections 3.7.3 of the district's bylaws, rules, and regulations. The board had a finance committee. That finance committee did in fact make recommendations to the board on or before October the 15th. Then, 3, upon receipt of the proposed budget, the board shall publish notice of the following one time in a newspaper of general circulation. 1, the date, time, and place of a budget hearing. 2, that the budget is open for public inspection and location where the budget can be reviewed. 3, that interested parties may file objections at any time prior to final adoption. CRS 21-1-106 per N1, section 3.7.4 of the district's bylaws. On October the 20th, and the district did in fact publish a public notice on October the 18th, which says the copy of the budget has been filed in the office of the district. It's open for public inspection, and the proposed budget will be considered at a public hearing of the Board of Directors on October 25, tonight. And it's 6:30 p.m. Any elector within the district may at any time prior to the final adoption of the budget inspect the budget and file or register any objections thereto. This was published in the Ranchland News. As I said earlier, final adoption is not happening tonight. It will be renoticed in the paper, but the final adoption would be scheduled, presuming it's interim adopted by the board tonight. Final adoption would be November the 29th, as we've sorted out the dates here, to give folks a month. The budget will be published, and which goes to the next point. The districts providing domestic water or sanitary sewer services directly to residents and property owners may fix or increase the fees, rates, etc. at a public meeting held at least 30 days after giving notice of such meeting to the district's governors. CRS 32-1-1001 paren 2 paren A. Notice must be provided to the customers receiving the domestic water or sanitary services of the district in one or more of the following ways, and There are 4 different ways, and one of them is posting the information on the official website of the special district, which is what's going to happen. And it will be published maybe yet tonight, I'm hoping, okay? And the resolution, which will be published, has the budget attached, has expenditures, it has all of the detail, and the point I'm gonna keep trying to get to is, rather than it being done finally by the board tonight, that's not happening, okay? The board has received the report from the finance committee. It can adopt that report tonight, but it won't be, per the newspaper article, per the stuff I just read, not a final adoption, okay? I'm saying it about 14 times here, but hopefully it's getting through to everybody, that it's not tonight, okay? You got 30 days, it will be published on the website, you're welcome to review it, comment, object, whatever folks chose to do, or say it's wonderful, whatever you choose to do, okay? So, on or before, on the day set for consideration of the proposed budget, which is gonna be November 28th, the board shall review the proposed budget and revise, alter, increase, or decrease the items as it deems necessary in view of the needs and probable income of the district, and or before December 31st of each year, the board shall adopt the budget, that's the final, setting forth the expenditures to be made in the ensuing fiscal year. Section 3.7.5 of the District Board of Directors bylaws, rules, and regulations. If anybody's still awake after I've cited all those stuff, you're doing really good. Okay, so there's all the sites, and that's why I was making the point earlier, that I have the sites, I have the statute here as
So
well.
what you're saying is that this board is disregarding the unwritten policy that all the previous boards
I
set up.
can't comment on anybody
That the
else's, I'm
budget-
reading to you.
That the budget is presented to the people at the board meeting in September and voted on in October.
It's not being, it is being reviewed
They're
tonight.
disregarding the unwritten policy that was set up by previous
I'm not
boards.
Considering your board signed off on it in what, December?
No, October.
They didn't even notify us that they were having a meeting about the budget. Then they had a secret meeting
Thank you.
at like 10 o'clock in the morning that nobody was aware of, nobody went to. So at least we're getting a little bit of information about the budget prior to the budget being
So
approved.
here's, I wanna piggyback on this, okay? And you said it right, the unwritten rule of the prior board, okay? We are following the statute as the attorney is reading it off, okay? And we're following it above and beyond what the statute requires.
Correct.
And allowing and want the public's input on this budget. This is a resolution for a fee increase of 3%. And that's what was presented from the finance committee. Okay, so we want it out there, we want folks to review it, we want the comments on it, we want your opinions on it. If there's something that we're not seeing, that the finance committee didn't see, there's smart people in this community and can point out that there's something that we can do better or change or something like that that we can change or do better, a process we can do better, that's what we wanna hear. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Excellent point. You guys ran on openness. Did we not have these discussions about how we weren't gonna be the board, correct? Tell me I'm wrong, because if I'm wrong, I'll just shut right up. If I'm not mistaken, half the people in this room, and I've got the tape recording, went up in arms because they held this meeting at an inopportune time where nobody could show up. Here's my second question. Who's the budget committee? Because I don't know a single person on it, and I'll tell you, I'd love to at least show up. You know I can if I want to. I'd like to, but I'd like to at least be there. Now we have a finance committee. I didn't know we had one of those. Now that's news to me. Anybody else? Okay, well, again, you wanna be the anti-board or not the other board. This is not the way to go around it, or go about it, I apologize. But it just seems a little bit more adversarial than it needs to be at this point. And I'm only one opinion, one vote, I'm one constituent. Mr. Martin brought up a very good point. I may not agree with him on much, but he's right. I mean, this stuff about having last minute meetings or not telling us was the reason you guys got elected in the first place.
But Mr. Pace, I've said, what, 6 times now?
Yeah.
There's a 30-day review. I read your email about the 10:45 in the morning. Mr. Martin's comment, well taken.
Okay.
We're bringing it up this evening, okay?
All right, so
We're,
then-
let me finish, please.
Go ahead.
We're bringing it up this evening. There'll be interim adoption by the board, but there will be a 30-day period to review, which didn't exist before. The criticism was well taken.
Beautiful.
How can you be more transparent than what you guys are doing now?
I don't know.
Seems awesome to me.
We're putting it in the
Okay.
paper, we're putting it on the website, we're giving 30 days opportunity to review. We're not doing something at 10:45 in the morning.
Okay, my concern was this, he brought up the point, and here was the point. We could at least go to a meeting.
You can.
When's the meeting?
Wait, hang on now. That's not what the statute says. The statute says,
Okay.
file or register any objections thereto. You all will have 30 days to file any objections.
Well, I just wondered who the budget people were.
That's a different question. I'm
Okay, well,
answering your
I'm-
first question, which is,
First
it will
question
be
was that,
published.
then you get
Let me
the
finish,
second one.
please.
Go ahead.
Let me finish, please. It will be published on the website, and folks will have the opportunity to file or register any objections. They are invited, you've heard the chairman. Okay?
Okay, second question now. Budget committee. Who are they?
3 members of the board.
2 members of the board.
Oh, okay.
Just 2 people.
2 members of the board and then the directors.
Outside community
Staff
members,
and
0?
No outside community.
That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Okay, so, to complete this, I'm suggesting that the board has reviewed the recommendation of the finance committee. And if the board is in accord with the recommendation of the finance committee, the board would make a motion this evening to make an interim adoption or approval of the budget committee, subject, as I've said for 14 times now, the 30-day review, 30-day opportunity for review and comment. So if you are so disposed to accept the opinion, position of the finance committee, that would be so moved.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
I'm a little confused. I thought that we developed the budget with the finance committee, budget committee,
And
and
present
then
to
it goes to the public.
Yes.
It's not, the public isn't involved in developing the budget. We have workshops to develop the budget.
Yes.
And Rachel ran off a few copies of the budget in case anyone would like to pick up a copy of.
But it will be on the website, the budget will be on the website.
Mhm.
Troy, might I ask, sorry,
Go ahead.
for those of us that didn't see the budget yet, can you just give a very brief synopsis of the fee increase if there is?
So I talked about a little bit last meeting,
I'm
the
sorry.
challenges coming up for this new year. I went to the SDA conference. We have several increases across the board in the state, not only state but federal. You have minimum wage in Colorado going up 8.9%, so we're gonna take a huge hit in just money for paying employees. You also have insurance rates for special districts from the pool are going up 10% across the board. That's a huge increase. I mean, normally increases are 3-5% a year. 1 to 3% is where they try to keep them. Consumer price index is holding steady at 2.7% increase going up here in the new year. So it was at 2.9, it's went down a little bit. We have a brand new wastewater treatment facility going up, and there are a lot of unknowns with that facility going into the new year as far as how many operators are gonna be needed, salaries for those operators. I mean, we know that, Jerry, we get a lot of our operators from straight out of college. So, I mean, we get them as cheap as we can, starting out. There are a litany of increases going up across the board. The problem is we would not be doing the community justice if we are obligated to meet our debt service to the bonds, to the lease agreement, and to make sure that everything's running, day-to-day operations. So to make sure that there's latitude there, without the 3% increase, the way it's was presented to us, and we are still reviewing, going through things line by line, it is always possible that something could happen in March, June, July, where you have to do a mid-year rate increase or something like that to make up a deficit. So doing our best, the best guess was what accountants and budget people do. can we give ourselves some latitude in that budget to be able to make sure that we don't fall short and that we can continue to provide all the services?
In specific answer to your question, sir, on the website posting of the information, it has estimated expenditures for each fund are as follows, and then the $2,740,387. I'm not expecting you to remember that right now. I'm just telling you that in the website, the specific expenditures are reflected. In addition to which, the complete budget, all the pages of all the detail will be there as well. So this is hopefully the most complete disclosure to the community that's ever happened. Okay, so hopefully I'm addressing your question.
Thank you.
I have a question. Before you guys came on board, we were told by a board member that the new water plant, we have the money for it. Is that not the case?
No, we have the money for the plant, for the construction, for the build out, all that. Now, with that plant comes additional operators, which have to be hired. We don't know how many that's gonna require until the plant's up and running.
Okay.
And we don't know the amount of chemicals it's gonna take as opposed to the old system until it's up and running. That can vary. So there are a lot of variables, and then there's no doubt that we've harped and harped and harped. And the folks that are taking the surveying things when it comes to Parks and Rec, everything's falling apart. Trying to upkeep things the best you can with what we do, but bottom line is our rates are still substantially lower than rates across the board in the state for special districts. We're trying to keep them that way. 1 to 3% raise per year going with cost or consumer price index is not unheard of. And we're trying to stick to right at that level of that price index to not, nobody wants to be the board member that waits and holds rates and we fall into a deficit. And then 2 to 3 years down the road has to come to the community and say, hey, because of our bond responsibilities, because of our lease agreement responsibilities, we're gonna have to raise the rate 15% this year. Nobody wants to be those people, and nobody wants to see that happen. If something happens at the end of the year or going into next year where prices go down, that's always, that budget committee, finance committee looks at it both ways. Is there a way we can reduce the rate? Or we have no choice but to increase? We're still looking at it, so, I mean, if we can come up lower than that, hey, I'm all for it. But what they presented is a 3% increase at this point.
Yeah, look, when you have the salaries, Jerry's department has to stay competitive. And so if he gets an employee on January 1 and this employee can make $10,000 more on February when he goes, now Jerry's back trying to find another employee, retraining. It's very expensive when you lose employees, so you want to make it very advantageous for them to stay.
I've had a ad up for over a month and I haven't had a single applicant for wastewater operator.
Look, I hear every day, and I went to the conference, and we hear every day that this is just a water district. And you don't understand until you're actually looking and going to all these state committees about the impact that the way Colorado is set up with the big government, and then it trickles down to the local governments, which feed into the big government. Colorado is one of those unique states where they depend on these quasi-municipal government entities. And this is nothing different than a multi-million-dollar company every year for water and wastewater, and with Parks and Rec thrown in. So when you look at that, you have to treat it as such, and you have to stay ahead of things, or because we can't fall behind. It's not an option. If the bank comes calling that, hey, we want our money, and you don't have it, well, guess what? They will impose an instant rate increase. So it's a finite line, and trust me when I say that nobody up here takes it lightly. We hear it every day. I get emails from community members that oppose how we're doing business and things. We do the best we can. And that's all we can do. And not everybody is gonna be happy with the job we do. But all we can do is give you the most information we can, make the best educated decisions we can, and hope for the best next year. And hopefully we come out with a better outlook. classes. So if all you have is an iPad, please look at it. If somebody sees something on there, send us a message, make an objection, go to the department head or the enterprise director. You know, let's get it figured out for everybody. I'm not a finance guy, okay? So I'll be flat honest with you. We depend on our staff accountants, we depend on our folks that have a history in finance. And, there's a good checks and balances with all of the, what do we have, 3 accountants now?
We have two, we'll have
Two.
two, yeah.
And the third, we're talking to, right?
Second one.
The second one, yeah.
So there's checks and balances there, and it's accountants that do that, present it to us. And so, get a copy of the budget, come back to us. If you see something we can do better, please. We're, you know, you guys are the ones that make most of all the decisions. We just sit up here and vote on it because you put us here. Anything else?
Yes, I would suggest that the board move to adopt the position of the finance committee regarding the budget. And I have a second one as soon as you finish that.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we adopt, resolution number 2018-24-10. And that is the resolution providing notice of the Woodmen Hills Metropolitan District budget to the community and the proposed budget and finance committee's 3% rate increase for the year 2019.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Folks, for the 16th time, okay, you got a month to take a look at it. We welcome any comments, positive, negative, they're welcome.
Is it on there with that 3% equals as well?
Here's that sheet that breaks it down. Did they
Yeah.
include that on there? Did you guys
It's on
include
the-
that sheet
Yeah, I
that
think
breaks
it's in the
down?
budget material.
Yeah,
Cause it comes out to be like $1.62, I think. Is that right?
It's $1.65 for park and rec, and it's only the park and rec portion and not the $6.99 straight lines.
Right, okay,
So it'll go up to $63.09.
okay.
overall, it's only like $5 in total for your entire bill. It'd go up $5 for water, for sewer, for park and rec. That's what it would be for that monthly minimum.
$5.
I know,
It's still $5.
And it's, I know, it adds up, though,
It
that's the
does.
thing. Okay, I just wanna make sure it's on there for all
And that,
people.
and that paper for the reasons for the fee increase, that one paper,
We'll
make
put
sure
that,
that's
yeah.
part of it as well.
Yeah.
Is there a cutoff time that you'd like to see replies by or responses by, so that at the next board meeting, we don't have people show up complaining the entire meeting about the budget?
Not theoretically, actually, the statute says it's supposed to be in writing, okay, before the meeting. So we don't spend, just the point you're making, okay? Statute says, do it in writing. You have to file objection or comment. Now, it may well be that there's a discussion at that meeting of the material that was submitted, so it's not shutting off any debate, it's just inviting those comments before the meeting. So that, and it gives the ability to review them, consider them, whatever. There will be the opportunity to discuss those at that meeting, but they need to be filed ahead of time. File equals writing. Okay?
Troy, when we post this on the website, I'll add a line directing people to submit their comments to a particular email address. I suggest we make it communications@whmd.org, and then when I receive the comments, I'll send them to all board members.
Oh, great.
Let's make sure we send out an e-blast that the budget, proposed budget is on there as well.
We'll do that.
To make sure that.
Yeah, that should
we're
be
getting it
attached
out
to the resolution.
To the best we can,
Yeah.
to the masses, okay?
We're trying, folks, to be as just transparent as can be, so hopefully we succeed. We're trying.
Next item is resolution on delinquent accounts for the El Paso County Treasurer. Go ahead and read that.
Sure. I'm not gonna read the whole resolution. What I wanna do is explain that there is a process whereby if there are delinquent payments, there's a process to notify the county, and then the county pursues the matter, okay? And this resolution is the board authorizing that material to go to the county for them to initiate their collection proceeding. There is $14,775.61 in delinquent accounts of 29 people. $14,775.61. 14,775.61. Okay, so this resolution also has another beneficial side effect, which is you all aren't incurring any fees. Me chasing somebody or hiring a collection law firm or any of those kinds of expenses. It goes to the county, and the county handles it through the assessment process. Okay, so that's the resolution for your consideration, hopefully approval.
You might explain something about an amount. The accounts can't be submitted for collection until they reach a certain level. So
I think it's 6 months of delinquency.
I'm not exactly sure of that, I know
Pretty sure that's what-
but also these are only sewer.
6 months, yeah.
These are only sewer accounts, because if someone's delinquent in water, we're able to shut the water off in order to get payment. These are sewer accounts, and where we only provide sewer service, we don't provide water service. And through the efforts of staff, there were 50 delinquent accounts. They collected almost $8,000 and reduced that number to 29.
How many attempts have been made to collect on these?
Pardon me?
How many attempts have been made to collect on these 29?
We send a letter every year, and, I mean, besides the fact they get their monthly bill, we send a letter both to the owner, because a lot of them are tenant houses where people are renting them out, we send it to the owner and to the tenant with the history, so they see exactly the number. In that, they have a chance to comment back. We try and set up, how can we help you, and get it all figured out with them.
Yeah, cause one of these is like $930.
Yeah, and so we sent letters, and we have tried to communicate, and we've never, not heard back
So
from
do
them.
you just keep providing
Just don't let it
services
get
and
in
those
there.
Yes, so then
Cut
that's when
off.
it goes to the county.
I don't know how you can cut off a sewer.
Yeah, you can't cut
Yeah,
off the
'cause you
sewer,
gotta
so it
get
goes
your
to the
money back.
county, and
Shit.
they will then.
That was a legal term.
Okay.
It's just a sewer bill, yeah, so, I mean, it's occurred over time, they haven't paid their bill.
Yes,
So,
It's illegal to shut off the sewer, but if we did shut off sewer, it'd get their attention pretty quick.
I would think so.
Hey, we're all back here kind of shaking our heads. My bill has everything on it.
So
So how are we just saying it's a sewer problem?
Because there's areas that we don't serve water, but we do serve sewer.
Right.
Oh, so these are all delinquent from where we just serve sewer.
Right.
That makes sense.
they don't hear back there well.
If we're not, can you guys hear us up here, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, when Jerry talks, no.
Okay. All right, I'll motion to approve resolution number 2018-2510, and that's the resolution turning outstanding accounts over to El Paso County for collection via taxes.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
I
Aye.
Hi.
Carries 4-0. All right, I think that leads us to public comment. Thank you, sir. We'll get through them all there. All right, first up, Leon Jones.
How many toast can I step on?
Probably a few.
Good evening, everyone. As you heard Jerry in his water and wastewater report, the Woodmen Hills Metro District has provided a number of services to us as we pay for it, Paintbrush Hills. Oh, by the way, Leon Gomes, Paintbrush Hills Metropolitan District, the district manager there. I want to thank the district, the board in particular, and Jerry and his team in what has been, since 2014, a very collaborative effort. The district, Woodmen Hills District, has been doing our sewer main jetting and videoing of, I think they are pretty close to having done the entire district now, and will continue to do that with Woodmen Hills as long as you're willing to charge us for it. Sounds like you want the business, Jerry, so you like to have in that business, right?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
In addition, on our new construction, the housing build out that we're experiencing right now, Danny Everett, who is your lead inspector, has been working with us now since, I think, also about 2016 maybe. We requested that Woodmen Hills do the inspections of our sanitary sewer infrastructure. That's partially because in the intergovernmental agreement between our district and your district requires that we meet your specs for sanitary sewer. So the best way to make sure that we are meeting those specs is to have one of your inspectors inspect that. So we inspect the water, all the water infrastructure, but Danny or someone designated by him does the inspections of the sanitary sewer. So we really appreciate that. I mean, and it goes beyond that. I believe in 2015, we had a kind of a disaster at our only sanitary sewer lift station, and your team here was quick to respond to help us out and prevent more damage than would have been caused in that lift station had they not been there helping us with that. And we did pay for the cost of that services. It was covered by insurance, so we were in fact, we requested an invoice. We were, at that time, the manager then was just going to not bill us for that, and we said, look, insurance is covering it, so send us a bill, do us a favor later, some other time when we really need it. So thank you. I want to express our appreciation as a district for that, for your district being there and available to us when we need it, and we want to be available to you if there's ever an event that you guys have that need. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Neil, appreciate it. David Stiver.
David Stiver, Team Strategy, here on behalf of the Metropolitan Club Homeowners Association. I'm giving you or providing to you a copy of the infamous promissory note that was created for this building in 1995, and where the fees actually first started for the Park and Rec, and the indebtedness, and what it was for, and what it was supposed to liquidate. Here is a copy of an agreement between Falcon Properties on an installment agreement, 20 years, for payments of $30,000 semi-annually to pay off this building in 2017. And it would have been paid off if the district had been making $30,000 payments semi-annually in accordance with the agreement. It would have been paid off in 2017 for a total of $1.8 million, $900,000 for this building initially, and then $900,000 in interest payments to Falcon Properties at 8% per annum. So then the bigger question was, to quote one of the county commissioners to me in a discussion with them, which was, Metropolitan Club, many of you don't know who we are or where we're at. We're 150 home sites located on the corner of Lambert and Stapleton. And the question was, and I have researched it, I have copies of the quitclaim deeds of when the property was sold to Journey Homes and developed in 2008. And the property was owned by, 4 tracts in particular were owned by Woodmen Hills Metropolitan District. So the question from the county commissioners was, what was a special district doing owning platted home sites? If you look on the second page, you will see that the actual properties that were sold by to Journey Homes by Falcon Properties is approximately 20 lots. There are 150 plotted and lots in Metropolitan Club. So how is it the district owned 130 plotted home sites and Falcon Properties owned a whopping 20? It's supposed to be the other way around. Falcon Properties puts in the infrastructure, pays for the infrastructure, and then pays the tap fees for each home when it comes online, and then district provides the service and collects the money for the services. So then the big question becomes, who do you think put in the infrastructure for Metropolitan Club? What we do know is we pulled the deeds, and what the deeds show is that Journey Homes paid $20 million for Metro Club. So that probably was to come back to compensate the district, which Journey Homes then deeded tract number 41 back to Woodmen Hills Metro District out of the 4 tracts that it took over. So from that standpoint then, we looked at, or I looked at, how much did Journey Homes spend to put in infrastructure for the houses that they built? And the total number is approximately $675,000 for piping. That's not very much for 150 home sites. So the odds are, to my thinking, that the Metro District and the ratepayers actually subsidized putting in
30 seconds.
Putting in metropolitan subdivision.
And that was 10 years ago, right?
And it's a violation. It doesn't matter if it was 10 years or 20 years or 50 years. It's a violation of the 1995 service plan, the 1997 service plan, the 2001 service plan, and the 2007 service plan.
That these board members are responsible for that happening.
Ignorance is not an effective defense.
Thank you, Mr. Stivers.
You're welcome.
Did you get a copy of that to review?
Nice job.
Yeah, I don't know what he wants done with it. He's just giving me a bunch of pieces of paper.
Mr. Stiver, was there an ask in there?
The ask is coming. Once we get it finalized, you asked me to ask, I asked, I think at the last meeting. or the
Right, I
previous
asked you at the bond.
And we asked for
Right.
documents?
Yes, and I'm providing you with the documents as we
Okay,
go along.
but what you want us to do with them, you haven't told us yet.
I know, I said that. I said, we don't wanna pay the park and rec fees unless you can show an inclusion agreement that says that we're required to pay the park and rec fee.
Could you send me that, please, in writing?
I did that.
I haven't seen it.
No, Mr. Benelo, I'm sorry. I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. I have the ability to pull up 7,000 emails. When ARC contacts you, you'll know, trust me.
I'm sorry, have you sent me something already?
Yes, I requested to know, clear back in 2017, number one, why Metro Club never received ballots, and I requested, with your response, who put in the infrastructure in Metro Club? And the response that you came back with, as well as Ms. Peterson, was, we don't know.
So there's no new request, is that correct?
No, the simple request is we don't wanna pay the park and rec fee, because there's no inclusion agreement or order from the court.
And I'm to determine that
And
excuse me, let me finish, please. I'm to determine that from something you sent in 2017? Is that what you're suggesting I should do?
No, I did a core request asking you for the information,
Let's try it again.
so I'm working backwards.
Okay, I asked you at the bond meeting, I'm asking you again now. If there's some ask, could
The
you
ask
please?
is, we do not wanna pay the park and rec fees, and the park that we were promised in 2005 in the site development plan, that
I'm sorry.
you own the land, we want the park.
We aren't communicating. Could you please give me in writing what your request is? Thank you.
When I get finished with my research, trust me.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Who's next?
Ron Pace.
Now? No, that's not okay. Who cares? I dropped it in this room, it wouldn't matter.
I have an AED.
Okay?
I have an AED.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Pace, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. A lot of you here know who I am, what I do, and what I stand for. I have two books in my hand today. One is the Sherry Ring response tapes. They're gonna be posted on my website on Saturday. I had to edit some of it, only because there's things in there, people say I don't have them. In the response filed with the court that this district is about to authorize and put onto the record, it's a matter that has nothing to do with this district. As a matter of fact, they're making it the district's business by doing it. Actually, I'm not even objecting to it, and I can't tell you why, because I've been asked not to tell you why. I think the lawyer will explain that later, maybe in an executive session. Mr. Pace claims on his blog that he has recordings of me that he will use in court. I had them ready. Those are the only things I actually had ready to go into court with excerpts about statements. And so I wanted to make it clear, yes, I have them, and anybody that's seen my phone knows I have them. Right now, it's about 7,400 recordings.
Hang on just a second. Okay, are you talking about a case between Woodmen Hills and you, or a case, a personal civil case?
This is what you're going to put into the record, which was a response made by a private citizen. So the statement here was,
Wasn't in the court.
this isn't a court record. This has actually been filed. Yeah, right, that's where I got it from. It's filed.
What read in the district minutes is the statement of the
Okay,
request to quash. Is that what you're speaking of?
yeah, that's what you were gonna put in, yeah, that's what I'm reading from, but you didn't read all of it.
I didn't read any of it.
I beg to differ from what we had, so that's gonna be in here, so let me get on to the next one, okay, I don't wanna take up all my time on that, okay? It says that I don't have any information. These are all the SMP messages I'm gonna post on my website about discussions I had with everybody involved with what was going on with respect to Mrs. Peterson, which started this whole backlash. I will tell you this, the ladies were doing their job. I have gone to the county commissioners and it's on record. 3 times, today was the last one this morning, that I knew what was going on. And at 9-something in the morning, I received a text message saying it was going down. I was in another building in another side of town. It's real simple. I backed what they said and what they, I'm sorry? Are you gonna, is this gonna, can I finish, please? Thanks. Okay, so, what I'm gonna tell you is what you're going to read on this website is text messages from everybody to me. So, the reason why everybody wants to jump in and interrupt me is because they don't want the facts out there, and I'm gonna put them out there. Okay, so when you say that I don't have something I have, I have. The reason why I didn't go with it is because the statements made here were very clear. I asked the sheriff's department to investigate me for the statements made on here and at the last board meeting. They said, no, it doesn't work like that. So, when I come in here and tell you I have something, I have it, I just didn't release it. Okay, and the reason why I didn't is because I had a chance to go through all those recordings that I have. All right, what I'm gonna go is say it again. Whether you wanna talk to me or not, which is one of the last comments you made to me on this thread, was I'll never speak to you again if you tell anybody. Well, that's fine with me. But here's the problem. You tried to fix the problem, along with Mrs. Vance, and regardless of that situation, no matter where I was standing, no matter what I was doing, they were trying to be board members. For whatever reason, for whatever purpose. So if something was leaked out one way or the other, and stuff like this was going back and forth, I had their back. Whether they have mine or not's not relevant. So that part's gonna be over, it'll be on my website tonight. You can all read it. Now, I'm sorry, hold on, and you definitely comment when I'm done, okay? I'd love to hear it. Second, statements were made here that we were gonna get local legal counsel. I agree with that. If anybody hasn't noticed, the adversarial situation in this room doesn't mirror other districts that I've been to. And I've been to plenty of meetings, okay, and I even taped them. I've been to Mr. Gomes' meeting, I've been to Cherokee's meeting, I've been to Meridian's meetings, and nothing along the lines of what's going on here. Nothing. They have really good meetings. They're really fun to be at. I mean, they're boring, but, you know, hey, that's what meetings are. I know it's funny, but I think it's Miss Rachel, right? Okay, thank you. Miss Hawkins, I think, is what the email says, but that's never. So here's what I'm doing. I've made it really clear that the next time I was attacked the way I was attacked for doing what happened, there was gonna be action taken on my behalf, and I plan on doing it. So really, that's it for me. Okay, after 2014 and spending almost $7,000 to clear my name, that was it. So regardless of how it turned out, it doesn't matter. You've been on my website, you know what it is. If anybody has any questions, just ask me. But I'm not gonna get upset about it. I go to the county commissioners, they're very nice to have me there, and that's it. So, Mr. Jans, please. So, other than that, if I told you what I'm gonna do, it's gonna get done. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, and that's it. So, as far as the stuff about being transparent and open and honest, I still haven't received the comments. He made statements after the last meeting outside, and I'm holding them to him, and I still haven't gotten the stuff I asked for. So I'm not gonna keep asking for it anymore. So instead of asking for it, the reason I would wanna be on the board is so I don't have to do that. So all your snickering and your laughing and your snide remarks are all done here. So either way, now, Mrs. Ringham, go ahead, or whoever wants to, okay, I'm all set. Anybody?
Go ahead.
Okay.
So you stand up here, and I will admit, I did speak to you before the election, I did, because you know what, you do know a lot. And you sit here and you say, oh, I have these women's backs, I have these women's backs, no you don't. Because you just proved it. And any man that walks around and records everyone's conversations, if I was anyone in this room, I would be worried about talking to him. So please don't go to his website, it only feeds him. Please go to the Woodmen Hills website, contact one of us, we are more than happy to talk to you, and we don't have any ulterior motive, except for to serve our community.
Louder, come on, you gotta do better than that. All right, you, sir? Okay.
I don't have anything, you're speaking about a civil litigation case.
No, I was speaking about a few other things, that's fine.
Metro district
Yeah, I
issue,
know,
so
that's okay.
I don't have anything to say.
It'll be on my way, yeah, we'll get there, okay. All right, good enough. All right, we'll see the stuff on the website then.
Thank you,
stop
Mr.
by.
Pace, have a good
Thank you.
evening.
I will.
It'll be all on the garbage site tonight.
Sam Stinson.
I'm joking.
I actually just have a question, really. Corey, you said
Yes.
that you had some money that you were gonna spend for carpets and stuff like that?
Yes.
And I was wondering if you could request maybe to get some bathing suit spinners in the locker rooms? Maybe that can go in if there's money left over?
Yep.
Just a suggestion,
Yep.
I don't know, it's
Yep.
kinda hard to follow up that, but
Yep.
that was my question.
Girl, I'd like to get some
Thank you, thank you.
Wanted that a long time ago. Thank you. I found an old Raider at Walmart.
All right.
He's volunteered to do it by hand.
Is there any other public comments? I know some people sign up at the start and then realize as we get going, they do have something. Okay.
I know we lost a lot of weight out fighting all those fires.
I'd like to take a moment,
Oh.
my name is Peter Reagan, I'm Sherry Reagan's husband, I've been gone since April fighting wildland fires this summer.
Oh, thank you.
And I wanna thank those that supported my wife while I was gone with, obviously some of the harassment with, unfortunately, Mr. Pace coming to my home unannounced with my son at home. And I wasn't able to defend that because I was out fighting fires for other communities. Mr. Benderlow, I wanna thank you for speaking on my wife's behalf. And I'm really angry right now at this behavior because I've only been in 3 meetings. So all I ask is that those that are here to see positive change continue to support it. And bring positive and solutions to the problem, not negative, because it's everything for me not to really speak my mind with Mr. Pace. I am definitely disappointed in you, sir. Being a fellow coastie, you don't have the right to have that honor. The way in which you disrespected my wife while I was gone and scared my family, and I don't appreciate it.
Yes?
Yes, I
Okay.
better introduce myself.
Yes, please.
Everybody's like, who's that lady? I don't live here.
I hadn't seen you here before, so I was.
You look very familiar to me, so I might have seen you at the SDA, I don't know. My name's Renee Sentis.
I haven't arrested you, have I?
I was just gonna pull you
I'm on the Cherokee board, and I came down here because I heard that you guys have really interesting meetings. And he's right, our meetings are so boring. It's unreal. If I get two residents, man, we're like, yeah. I just want to dispel some rumors. Yes, we are gonna try and be annexed. I'm gonna tell you right here now. We are trying to get our wastewater taken care of next year. You might not know, but we have a TDS issue. It's gonna cost us $56 million.
Yep.
Let me tell you, your wastewater treatment plant, just to warn you, you didn't get set with it, but you're gonna, in about 4 to 5 years. You're being asked to monitor. It's $56 million on top of whatever you paid to treat TDS. Cherokee don't have it.
TDS.
Total dissolved solids. The state's coming down on this regulation. So Cherokee's just tired of being the people that supply everything. I'm gonna tell you, Woodmen Hills isn't exactly liked by the people down there. It's not your fault, it's your developer, Mr. Green. He made a deal with Stu Loosely, okay? You think you pay high water rates, you better really start thinking twice. Because Rusty Green and Mr. Loosely made it so you guys buy water from Cherokee for less than what it cost them to wheel it to you. It was an underhanded, dirty deal. Now, we are obligated, I don't know how long, to keep supplying you this water for so much time. But I'm just gonna tell you, if you go through Cimarron Hills, those people can't afford to supply you water indefinitely at lower than what it's costing Cherokee to pump it. So, I'm sorry, I'm nervous. So anyway, we're trying to get the city to come in, okay, because we can't afford $56 million. It's just not fair. That comes to $26,000 per homeowner in the Cimarron Hills neighborhood. We had a defunct board before us also who just thought, oh, yeah, sign up, give us a bond, whatever. I mean, money was no object. We put a halt to everything. The city said it'll take us 2 to 4 to get water online. Now, we're connected to you. So I'm just gonna say, this will be a good thing for you guys. The city wants to take on everything. We want annexation, in Cimarron Hills. We want it all. The fire department is taking over come January 1st. There will be no more Cimarron Hills Fire Department. It'll be the city. So it's a good thing for you, but I'm just giving you some warnings. I know there was rumors about stuff and people said, oh, that ain't happening. No, it's happening.
Yeah, it's happening.
It's happening. I'm on the board. I go to city council meetings. I'm down at utility. I've had meetings with very high managers at the city.
Where are you located? Where is this, Cimarron? Explain to me. Where's
When
that
you
at?
come into town, Highway 24,
Correct.
Peterson Air Force Base, go everything north of Peterson
Okay.
Air Force Base, okay, up to, well, it's a little weird, but
Is it
Constitution, but a little farther actually. So Constitution and Peterson, at Peterson Road, it goes farther north.
Right.
Goes all the way to Powers. It's, we service 7,100 homes.
Okay.
I don't live there, I just own a lot of properties there. I live just north of you guys, actually, here, yeah.
Miss Lucy, I heard one of those rumors, and so I went straight to the source, Mr. Andy Pico, who's a friend of mine.
Yeah?
And Mr. Pico confirmed that yes, indeed, an application process had been started with Cimarron Hills. My understanding was the deal with Mr. Green and back in 1987 was to provide 360 acre-feet of
Yep,
water
we still do.
per year to this district so they could build out.
Right.
Although it seems to me that I saw some documentation that showed that that agreement expires in May of next year, 2019.
I hope it does. I'm sorry to
That
tell
would
you.
be the
I
best
hope
thing,
it does. It
except
would be the
for-
best for us. It would not be good for you
No,
guys.
no.
But if, I don't think that's true.
Right.
On
Well, but I don't
Cherokee-
think it was
on
in
Cherokee's
perpetuity
deal,
either,
I
though.
think we have to do it forever. I don't know.
I didn't think it went in perpetuity.
I think it did, and the
Wow.
reason is because Woodman Hill's attorney was Cherokee's attorney. Wasn't that nice, Mr.?
Wasn't me.
Mr. Pete
Sisnell, the
Sisnell.
infamous
And if you ever
promissory
hear
note
that
man.
name, you better tell people to run, cause he's one bad attorney.
Well,
What's his name?
but then that,
Pete
my
Sisnell.
question is, if this goes through and you go online, then this
Yes.
district is short 360 acre
Got it.
feet.
No,
No.
we have to service anything. No, what it means is you guys don't have to have well water anymore. It means you
Well,
can have
because we can tap
surface
into the
water
city.
from, you're already tapped.
Right.
You are our district.
Yes.
You see,
Mhm.
it's a good thing. The more people I get out here, Meridian Ranch, they're willing to take Meridian Ranch. I mean, the more people we can get to do this, the more the city's, gonna help us. I went to the utility board meeting last Wednesday downtown, and one of them slipped up, one of the city councilmen slipped up and said to me and another board member, yeah, we're looking for ratepayers.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, okay, that's good for us, cause they're needing money.
Well, I just got a tremendous rate hike in Colorado Springs utilities, so I
Nothing
don't,
like
not so
Cherokee.
sure they're looking for.
Nothing like Cherokee,
'Cause
I
I just got a
guarantee
rate
you,
hike.
nothing like Cherokee, cause I own homes in both. Cherokee
Mm.
pays ridiculous, and my husband says you guys pay even more than what Cherokee pays. So, well water is nowhere near the price of surface water, nowhere near. Plus, it's gonna run out, it's not a finite source. Ron?
Go ahead.
I just wanna wait till you tell me to go.
No, go
Okay.
ahead.
I know you want me to go, because you're on the other board. I'm Mr. Pace again. Thanks, by the way. 9 years, I'm glad you showed up. You're a little late, but all those
Sorry.
documents that she's talking about are on my website. The deal was done in
Yeah,
1998.
we're done with you plugging your website.
I'm not plugging, okay, forget the website, Ms. Stinson. It's 350 acre feet, it's in perpetuity, Pete Sedgwick signed it, and the problem is, the wheeling issue that you're talking about is, they sold it for $1 million. They took that money and bonded it through the PFA. That's what we were talking about early on. And the issue was, when you guys are tying into Colorado Springs, that was the best goal that everybody was looking for. That's why we have that force main pipe that runs up the Meridian, that people didn't understand what I was talking about. So regardless of my site, my documents come from your website, they come from their website, they come from the Springs. And what you missed out on was me being ostracized by a bunch of people, talking about I didn't know what I was talking about when I already had the conversation with the people down there, because I've been talking to Steve Hasbrook just about every other day. So when all these people are doing what they're doing, I know what I'm talking about, and they said I didn't. Here's the fact is, we don't have enough water to keep going.
Well,
Is
that's
it-
why I thought I would tell you guys.
thank you.
You know, I'm worried about you guys getting in the same situation.
No, we've been
I feel so bad
monitoring.
about that TDS there, I'm just telling you.
We've been monitoring Cherokee and with what you guys are doing. so
Yeah, cause it's
TDS, and
$56
We've also
million.
been monitoring the,
56 million to fix that, and that's just, and I think I think you have less than 7,100 homes, don't you?
yeah.
Yeah, so that would be rough. That would be really, really rough. They're willing to take the waste for everyone. So if you get to that point where the state comes in and says, hey, you guys are gonna have to deal with the TDS, then, you know, the whole pipe system's in, you know, it's, anyway, just thought I'd tell you
Thank
that.
What was your name again?
My name's Renee.
Renee. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you.
I just didn't want it to be a rumor anymore, I just wanted to tell you, it is.
No, cause, I mean, Jonathan's sit here, usually in here every meeting, so, and I've been watching the CSU, board meetings, cause they stream them, so I can watch them from my house to keep apprised of what CSU's doing, so. I was aware of, you know, your board members that went and spoke to them and made the request, and
Yeah, we were talking about that before.
It's a good opportunity for everybody if it goes to
It
fruition
is.
over the years, and I hope it does go to fruition. And I hope the more ratepayers they can get, the lower the water cost is. So, you know, we do have a pipe out at, where's it at, Jerry? Tamlin? We have a interconnect out at Tamlin from the city, so.
No.
Is that right, Tamlin?
Doesn't connect.
With Cherokee?
Cherokee.
Okay.
The Tamlin tank is over there.
So you guys, if you guys benefit from it, I mean, everybody's watching, so Meridian's watching, so everybody's watching. So thank you for coming and speaking to it. We appreciate it, because it gives us something to
Yeah.
continue to watch, to make sure we can stay
Point
ahead
of
of that.
information, we went to them in 17 and talked to Colorado Springs. They wanted nothing to do with us at that point.
Well, I think now that the SDS is only running at, and I may be wrong,
10%.
10% capacity,
Mhm.
and it's designed to run, I believe, at 80% capacity, so
Wow.
they're well
They
below.
want anybody they can to pay for it, that's what the problem is.
What that facility is built for, so,
But
so,
they
thank you.
also have been out of compliance at their wastewater treatment plant because they did so much upgrading. And it's really funny, the city, with all its growth, it's actually using less water than it did 10 years ago. People have gotten so good at conserving. Well, there's also not enough flow going down to their wastewater treatment plant. So now they're out of, the plant's not working correctly. They're out of compliance into the Fountain Creek. And so that's why the wastewater is gonna be the easiest. They're like really excited, and I'm like, thank you, because if we can avoid this $56 million plant, we're doing it.
Yeah.
The plant out there only cost $26 million, just to put a little TDS RO plant in it, within the plant, is 56. And then, well, that's with deep well injection, cause then you have
And
to
for
get
those of
rid
you who
the
don't know, an
brine.
RO is a reverse osmosis system, so.
And then you have to, like the wells for fracking, you have to drill wells that deep and put all the salts down there, because all of our well water out here has salts in it, that's why, you know. That might be your color. Cause it's well water. Well water has nutrients and salts in it, it's just the nature of it.
All right.
So,
Well, thank you, we appreciate it. Tell Steve I said hi.
he don't know I'm here. Like I said, I live up the road. I'm gonna go see this interesting meeting.
It's nice to meet you.
Okay, where are we at?
Other business.
No other public comments? Okay. Other business, any other business? Anything, Nicole?
Russell, I think you were going to talk about the website.
Yeah, there was something I was gonna talk about. What was that?
Posting things on the website. I don't remember the term that you had.
That's right, okay, so website, all the files are all the files available on the website that people can get to? And if they're not, I wanna make it easier for everybody to get to them. And what I thought would be the easiest way for us to be able to do that would be an FTP server with a link on the website that would be easy enough to get to an FTP server where all the files can be seen. And you can do that in a GUI interface very easily with a link.
What's that?
How about you guys talk offline? on
Anyways,
that?
let's
That
talk
way,
about that. I wanna go over that.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
To get just to make sure that we have all the possible documents we can have on there.
Yes.
Anything is public.
Because storage space is pretty inexpensive, especially when you're talking about on an FTP site. Anyways, it'd be a lot easier for everybody to traverse to the files that way. I'll talk to Daniel offline about that, I guess. Okay, that was all I had.
Nothing else, other business? Too gooey? All right, I motion we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Folks, go look at the website, look at the budget on the website, comment if you like.